Good morning.
Today's reading, Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 4 to 10, page 887. The Lord chooses Jeremiah. The Lord said, Jeremiah, I am your creator, and before you were born, I chose you to speak for me to the nations. I replied, I'm not a good speaker, Lord, and I'm too young. So you say you're too young, the Lord answered. If I tell you to go and speak to someone, then go. And when I tell you what to say, don't leave out a word. I promise to be with you and keep you safe, so don't be afraid. Lord reached out his hand, and then he touches my mouth and said, I am giving you the words to say, and I am sending you with authority to speak to the nations for me. You will tell them of doom and destruction, and of rising and rebuilding again.
When I felt called to ministry, I reacted like Jeremiah. Now he said he was too young and he couldn't think of, and he wasn't too good at talking. Well, I talk a lot, so that wasn't the problem. I'm too old. I don't want to go back to school again. It's too much work. Ever felt that way before? Yeah? Well, that's how I felt. And I felt like God gave me a big kick. Where it hurts. Anyway, in this story of Jeremiah's call, that was very common back in those days. If you were under the age of 30, you were to keep quiet. They felt that if you weren't at least 30, you had no sense in your head. So people under 30 were, shh, quiet. Don't talk. Wait till you have a little life experience under your belt, and then you can speak. So we get the impression, we don't know how old he was, but we get the impression that Jeremiah was young. He could have even been a teenager for all I know. But he was definitely under the age of 30, and probably quite a lot. And God said, you don't have to worry. I'll give you the words to speak. And so Jeremiah did. And he got himself into a lot of trouble. Because when you speak the truth to power, the power sometimes overwhelms you. And he got himself arrested, and eventually he and some people fled to Egypt later on. But that sometimes is what happens when you're doing what God called you to do. Other people don't see it that way. You know you've been called, but they don't see it that way at all. In my class that I teach in school, most of my students are not functioning above 2 years of age. And a lot of people are surprised. I only have one student that speaks fluently, and he's like the class genius. I have another one that's just starting to get language, and I have to encourage her to speak up. But the rest of them they don't talk. I have one that is totally blind, and I have others that are very unsteady in their gait and don't walk that well. But they're all called, you might say, to learn. And one of the things we do in my class, that, at least right now, we're having a unit on community helpers. And the most common thing that people usually do are doctors and nurses and firefighters and dentists and things like, you know, the professions. Not in my class. Even though we will do the doctors and the nurses and the firefighters. I have the janitors and the construction workers and the sanitation workers and the custodians and people like that. Because not only are they all needed, I really believe that they've been called. And I think some people that really like their jobs and do a great job at it and seem to get pleasure from it also feel that sense of call. I would like to share a story to you about a woman by the name of Maria. She is one of our custodians at Sierra Vista High School. She has one of the best attitudes of anyone I've ever met. And she's the one who the head custodian sends to my class when one of our children have vomited or all over the floor, okay, or made a mess, or maybe urinated on the floor. We have a lot of that in my class. And she comes in there with great pride. She has her mop and her bucket, and she cleans it all up with a smile on her face that she's now making the room exactly the way it should be. And when she does our bathrooms, you would not really want to clean the handicap bathrooms, because there are 3 classes, not just one, that use them. When I go there in the morning, it's clean, it doesn't smell icky, it's wonderful. And I know that it's that way because Maria has done it. And so I talked to her one day. I asked her, I said, I really love your attitude. And she said, I think this is what God has called me to do. And I thought, maybe that's true. Because she does such a great job and she's so happy about it and takes such pleasure in it and really has a sense of satisfaction that she's doing a good job. Can you ever think of being called as a sanitation worker? A lot of people, when they're little kids, when I grow up, I want to be a fireman. Not too many would probably say, I want to go and empty the trash. They had garbage strikes in New York City. Anybody know about them? Yeah. You've heard about it? You know what it smells like if nobody picks up the garbage after a while? Not too nice. And also, it can potentially be dangerous, right? It can be. And the people that pick up those cans, and now they can do it a lot easier, you know, they put it on a slider thing and up it goes over. They're doing a real service to all of us, aren't they? Now, wonderful that they do that. And what about the people that work in the hot sun doing construction work? It's not easy, is it? But look what they create. Some construction crew built this church and the other buildings that we have around here. We should be very, very pleased that people are willing to do that kind of work, even though it may be very, very hot when they're doing it. I think that some people have been called as parents. If anyone has ever had a wonderful mother or father, especially the people that not only are they parents to their own children, but they volunteer with other children and youth activities that really make a difference in the lives of others. I think they've been called. Parenting is their thing. That's what they've been called to do. And they're very, very blessed to be such a help to other people. As I said earlier, at a very old age, I felt I was called to ministry. And I didn't want to hear that call. No way did I want to go back to school for 4 years. It's hard, especially learning Greek and Hebrew. That was the toughest part. I could have gone to another seminary, but it would have taken me 10 years to get out of there. So I thought, well, I guess I better do it. So I went to Fuller, and I had to take Greek and Hebrew. And thank goodness I did, because I now read things and I thought, no. That's not what it says, because I can read the Greek or the Hebrew. But I had every excuse in the world. I was on the top of the pay scale at Anaheim Union High School District. I was happy with my job. Everything was going fine. No problems. Did I want to go back to school for all that time? To go into ministry? No way. But it's just like God said, come on, you can do it. And so luckily I was working with somebody who was on the board at Fuller in the School of Psychology, and he's the one that gave me the recommendation to be able to go there. Because remember, I did not come from a religious background where the Bible was part of our daily activities. I was so biblically illiterate, I couldn't believe it after I started going to school and thinking, oh, so that's where it came from. My favorite one of all was when I was in the 9th grade, I had an English teacher, and we had some quotes from some famous English authors. And one of the quotes was, "There's nothing new under the sun." Plagiarized, you people. Plagiarized. The answer, what?
From Proverbs.
No, actually it's from Ecclesiastes.
Oh, that's right.
It's from Ecclesiastes. The thing is, what's his name? Shakespeare. Notorious for lifting things out of the Bible. Notorious. And then claiming, you know, that he wrote it. No, he didn't. And so the answer to the test, you know, in the 9th grade was, I put William Shakespeare. I didn't know any better. And that's who she thought it was, because that's where she read it. No, 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 Mr. Shakespeare, you got it from the Bible. And a lot of other things too. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow you shall die. Not Shakespeare. Ecclesiastes again. So, it was really quite an experience. And then getting out, thinking, no one will want to hire me, I'm too old. Just different than Jeremiah. I'm too young, no one will listen to me. I thought I was too old. No one will want to hire me. You know, no, I want somebody that's 35 years old with 50 years of experience. Isn't that what you really want in a minister, right? Somebody knows what they're doing. Doesn't always work out that way. But getting back to being chosen, I think each and every one in this room has been chosen. And I don't care how old you are. I'm tired of people thinking, well, gee, I'm retired now. I'm, you know, kind of on my own. I don't have to go to work every day. You think that you've been chosen for something? You think that God has just said, oh, well, over the hill, forget that. No. Everyone has been chosen to do something. And it doesn't have to be something great. You know, it doesn't have to be my son or daughter, the doctor. If your son or daughter was a really great custodian and did a super job and really clean with a smile on his or her face and really took pride in their work, you should be really pleased that you had such a child that has such a good attitude. And so think yourself, when you go home today, how was I chosen? What have I been chosen to do? It might be to be a good friend to others, to lend a helping hand. If you have money, it might be to help people out financially, because you're sharing the blessings that God has given you. It might be just to be a person that listens. And sometimes I wonder if God has chosen some people to be quiet. You ever thought of that? Some people roll up the mouth, and sometimes be better. Zip it!
Did you see in the news
What?
that Trump is going around saying that he has been chosen?
I know it really upset me. I'll tell you why. Because I thought up this sermon a month in advance. I thought, darn it, now how am I going to do this? Because a lot of people have truly been chosen to do wonderful things. And it could be just to be a good listener and to be there with other folks. And when he said that, I thought, that's my sermon title. Can't do that, you know, but of course. Sometimes we have to listen to God to find out how we've been chosen, right?
Right.
And listening sometimes is not the easiest thing to do. Because we, especially those who talk for a living, sometimes we run at the mouth before the brain gets, you know, in gear. But anyway, chosen ones, and that means all of you, I wish you a wonderful week and a wonderful experience of seeing how God will guide you in the coming days. Amen.
Amen.